everybody. I'm Marcia Brandwin, and welcome to our 8 o'clock news. Mayor Bradley is calling for a state of emergency tonight in Baldwin Hills. A flash fire roared through the upscale Los Angeles neighborhood late this afternoon. At least 2 people are dead, several seriously injured. At least 50 homes were leveled by this very fast-moving fire. It is being called the worst wildfire in Los Angeles since the 1961 Bel Air fire. Right now, Baldwin Hills looks like a bombed-out war zone as firefighters finish the work of putting out the hot spots and begin the grim task of looking for more victims. The Baldwin Hills community is located along La Brea and Stocker Streets, not very far from the LA airport. For the complete story, let's go live now to the fire scene where Channel 11's Jay Scott is standing by to bring us all the details. Jay?
Marcia, just moments ago, I completed an interview with Chief Gene Schmitz of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. He says although the fire is contained, it is still an extremely dangerous situation until all of the hot spots you mentioned just a moment ago can be put out. They'll be here all night and into the day tomorrow. Here is what it looked like earlier in the day in Baldwin Hills. A horrifying scene, a battleground. 2 are dead, although Chief Schmitz would not rule out the possibility of more fatalities as the ruins are searched house to house. They're attempting to do a survey right now. There are 3 serious injuries confirmed from the fire ground, 2 from burns, 1 from smoke inhalation. 20 to 30 people were treated on the scene here for minor injuries. We are told by Chief Schmitz that 7 firemen were hurt. At least 2 reported burned. It is not believed at this time that the firemen were seriously hurt. And as you mentioned, 40 to 50 homes were destroyed. But the Los Angeles Fire Department is completing a sketch of the area. They're using diagrams and going house to house to determine just exactly how many were burned. It's still not known. Chief Schmitz was the first-ranking fire official on the scene, and he described it as pandemonium, people trying to get out of the area, his men trying to get in. He said it was a little bit like a sandlot team coming up against an organized team. He said there was 0 visibility, low water pressure in the area, and panic in the area. Homeowners, those who decided to stay and stick it out, were trying to wet down their roofs, so the water pressure dropped off precipitously. Gas mains being checked in the area right now. There are quite a few crews from the gas company out here. We were told that up until about an hour ago, not all the gas had been turned off in the area. There is no power in this area, obviously. As many as 30 companies involved, including at least 2 choppers for chemical drops. There is heavy security in the area tonight. Los Angeles traffic officers moved into the area, California Highway Patrol, and the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department setting up a tight security perimeter in the area tonight. A great deal of activity still at this hour. Tony Valdez was our first reporter on the scene earlier today, and here's his report.
A bit more about the origins of this fire. As you say, at this hour, police are questioning a 13-year-old boy at the Police Southwest Bureau. Channel 4 News has learned that the boy reportedly admitted to his mother that he set the fire today. His mother then took him to the police station. At the moment, things are calm here, and the fire department appears to have things under control. Second Baldwin Hills fire in 3 months is 3 houses nearly destroyed. 2 other homes sustained lighter damage. James Armstead's home was one of those. He lives next door to a house that was nearly gutted.
I came to my front door, opened the door. The smoke was so dense I couldn't see to the end of my driveway. Then I went to the side door, looked out the side door, and found that Mrs. Jolly's house was ablaze.
In addition to the fire in this neighborhood, another blaze broke out near the Baldwin Hills Reservoir as well, but no homes were threatened. There were helicopter drops to make sure the fire did not get out of control. The fire-threatening homes was quickly contained by what seemed like an armada of firefighting units. So far, there are no reports of death or injuries. Fortunately, things do appear to be under control here. The fire department says there is no further danger, but as reported before, it may have been arson. A 13-year-old boy is being questioned. Later, we'll know more about that. This is Jim Giggins reporting live from Baldwin Hills. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay.
A bad dream come true. A terror unlike anything anyone here had ever seen or lived through. Incredible flames burning their way from one home to another. Sparks blown by the wind moved faster than firefighters could. A grass fire on La Brea Avenue, deliberately set, started it all at about 2:45 this afternoon. Los Angeles City Fire Department helicopters dropped water from the air, sometimes aiming with nothing more than a wish and a hope. The thick, long-burning smoke oftentimes made the ground invisible from above. Firefighters eventually had to face a bitter truth. Homes already burning were to be forsaken so that those not already on fire might be saved. By 4:45, water and time and the firefighters had finally won their battle. The sun reappeared through the smoke, making the aftermath all the more painful for those who came back to see what was left of home. It is these victims that are now of primary importance. Larry Atterbury continues with that part of the story.
This is the Dorsey High School, which is the evacuation center here. They're just preparing over here to serve dinner tonight, and about 100 people are expected, though they really don't know exactly how many people will be here until they actually show up. Some, of course, are going to friends and relatives to spend the night whose homes have been burned to the ground. And on the way over, we stopped at the command post where they are directing the activities of this fire. And Mayor Tom Bradley was there. He received a private briefing, and here's what he told us just a few moments ago about this fire.
Received additional information from the fire department and the police department indicating that the fire was an arson nature, and that the 2 deaths now put this in the category of a homicide. The police department and the arson squad of the fire department will be conducting the investigation into the matter.
Of course, there are lots of people who are being evacuated here, and we're going to talk to a couple of them right now. Abby Word, you were inside your home when the fire broke out. Can you describe what happened to you?
Well, I heard the noise, and I got curious about it, and I went to see was the wind in the front like it was at the back. And when I opened the front door, what little I could see, it wasn't no trouble out there. And then I said, well, it's something back here. Then when I started back to look out the back window, see, I had a big sliding glass door back there. Then the heat hit me in the face.
Did it hurt you there, burn your face?
Oh, no, just the heat hit me, and I knew it was fire. Then I turned and got out of there.
As quickly as you could. How much of your home was destroyed?
Well, I don't know. That remains to be seen. From what I understand, it was completely destroyed, but I don't know.
You don't know so far?
No.
Your wife is getting a little wipe off here. You, of course, were not at the home at the time. What was your first impression, though? How close did you get?
I got about 3 blocks from home, and I saw the fire blazes over the other house, but I couldn't get up close enough to see the actual fire in my house burning. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, thank you very much. I do want to give you one word of advice here. The Red Cross information number is area code 213. It is 739-4518. If you do have questions, you can call the Red Cross. That is the information number there. We will, of course, be here to give you further information as it's available this evening. Reporting live from Dorsey High School, I'm Larry Atterbury, Channel 11 News.
Larry, I assume you can hear me for this question. It seems that they now are sure, at least the mayor is saying that it is arson, and there were reports that somebody had seen someone go down the street, drive down the street, and throw something out into the brush.
Yes, the first fireman on the scene did see someone. They do not have anyone in custody, we understand. We have been told by police authorities just a little while ago, but apparently it was at least 2 different individuals. Now, that's about as much as we have at this point.
All right, thanks, Larry. And, of course, we will be back to all of our reporters out in the field a little bit later on in the program for an update. The fire is the most important story of the day today. For an update on the Baldwin Hills Fire situation, let's go back now to Jay Scott and Tony Valdez, both standing by live. Jay? Jay, can you hear me?
Hello, Marcia. Yes, I can hear you. We're having some minor difficulty here. I'm standing on the roof of Mr. Raymond Spicer's house here on Don Jose Drive. Mr. Spicer decided to stay on his roof this afternoon and fight the fire that came to within 50 feet of his house, just one house over. That structure is burned, 2 houses over. It's completely destroyed by fire. Mr. Spicer, what went through your mind as you were standing up here watching those flames approach you?
Well, the things that went through my mind was, I'm a praying man. I believe in God Almighty. My wife and I said, we'll just say a prayer that this house doesn't burn. So I start sprinkling this roof down with water, and the house is still standing here. And I just thank God that it is.
Now, I understand you had some experience as a firefighter, am I correct?
Yes. Years ago, I used to be in CC camp, and I fought fires in the hills over here at Mount Pinus and around.
Well, now, in your experience, was this a fast-moving and frightening fire?
It was a very fast-moving, frightening fire. As you could see the fire at one place 1 minute, and then all of a sudden you see a house 2 or 3 doors away burning up. So, I don't know. It's just something that just happens so fast, you don't have time to really think about it.
You mentioned to me a moment ago you were watching the story of the tragedy at San Diego just yesterday, and now it has happened in your neighborhood.
Yes, I was watching that on TV, about the 70 homes or more that got burned in San Diego County.
And then today, this is happening, and it's just a frightening thing.
Well, I'm glad that your home escaped and that all of yours are well, and we wish you luck. Now, Tony Valdez was our first reporter on the scene. Tony, I know you have some very vivid recollections of what it was like when you first came up here today.
I have covered hundreds of fires. I have never, ever seen anything like this. As cameraman Jack Combs and I moved up Don Jose, which is to our rear here, we could look ahead and see one house after another going up. And for reasons that none of us will ever understand, there would be an occasional house that would remain untouched. We saw animals running loose, running crazy, literally, out of fear for what was happening to them. And a couple of very, very courageous Los Angeles police officers who had spotted the grass fire realized that it was going to become something bigger than a simple brush fire, and they went down the streets alerting people, evacuating them. I don't know who they are, but they certainly deserve an award.
All right, Tony, thank you very much, and thank you for your work. I know you breathed a lot of smoke up here today. Marcia, that's pretty much the situation as it stands right now. They're still putting out the hot spots, and we'll be standing by.
This was the scene today as a holocaust swept through the Baldwin Hills. Good evening. A fiery tragedy is at the top of our news.
In a matter of minutes this afternoon, a pleasant neighborhood was transformed into something very much like hell.
We began our coverage with News 13's Jack Popejoy at the flashpoint of the fire.
It was torched off at the edge of La Brea Avenue and roared up the dry hillside. Within seconds, a dozen expensive homes on the ridge were engulfed as we heard the sounds of exploding cars and home fuel tanks. The narrow, winding streets were choked with residents streaming in and out and fire trucks trying to get onto Don Carlos Drive.
It took a long time before the fire department got here. And then when they got here, they didn't have no water.
How fast was it moving up the street?
Right now, it was so fast, it was just unbelievable.
Not everybody could get out, obviously, then.
No. It just happened so fast, it just hit.
What's it like in there, Vince?
It's literally a firestorm. In my 10 years on the fire department, I've never seen anything like this. I've seen movies of the Bel Air fire that happened in 1961. Now I know what it was like. It's literally an inferno.
In all, 47 expensive homes were destroyed, many others heavily damaged.
I don't know, I got here, it was in flames when I got here about 25, 30 minutes ago.
Boy, that went up real fast then. It looks like it may be a total loss.
It appears to be.
Everybody in your family okay?
Yes. Yeah, there wasn't nobody home.
Arson investigators are now certain that someone southbound on La Brea started the fire at this spot with an incendiary device, and possibly one other location.
They interviewed an individual that saw the person throw a source into the off of La Brea down here, into the grass, and started it.
So someone did this intentionally?
That's what he indicated, and I have to believe that's true, the way this fire exploded up the hill. You're looking at this, looks like World War II. It's a tremendous destruction.
Quite an advertisement against wood-shake roofs.
This is it. Practically all the residents here have wood-shake shingle roofs, and it's a direct responsibility that these houses caught on fire. We do have 2 fire fatalities that we have confirmed. They were pulled out of a burning structure by a resident here in the area.
Because of the deliberate origin, that makes those deaths homicide. In Baldwin Hills, Jack Popejoy, News 13.
There are no exact numbers yet on how many people were injured in the Baldwin Hills firestorm. Some may not have been treated, and there are still 3 to 5 people missing at this hour. Early reports say 7 firefighters and 5 residents were taken to local hospitals. 3 burn victims arrived here at the Brotman Medical Center in Culver City. 2 are in stable condition, but 1 elderly woman is critical with severe burns to her arms and face.
The woman going to the burn unit told me that the backyard went up in flames all at one time and sent her running through her home. About the same time the home went up, apparently, because her husband was in the house, and as he was opening the front door so that they could escape the home, he was burned at the same time, but not nearly as severely as his wife.
Most of the victims suffered minor burns, smoke inhalation, and heat exhaustion.
The area was so dry and today's temperature so high, once the fire began, there was nothing to stop it.